Hi everyone. It's 10 o'clock, so I think we'll get started. So welcome to our product update for Q3. Thank you everyone for taking the time to join the session today. For those of you who don't know me, I'm Jenna Buttershaw, the Product Knowledge Manager here at Access Planet. So today we're going to go through the new features and changes that we've released in Q3, plus an overview of the features that we are currently working on for the rest of the year. For those of you who attended the Q2 session, I'm afraid there is nothing new for me to share with you yet in terms of future features. However, of course, I've got updates on everything that we covered last time. If you have any questions, please pop them in the chat as we go, and I'll cover off all of those at the end. So yeah, agenda-wise, as I mentioned, first we'll go over the new features, functionality that's available to you now. Then I'll take you through the features that we have upcoming. And then we'll wrap up with that Q&A at the end. So first of all, at the end of September, we released our latest updates. That's only a couple of weeks old now, and this included 2 checkout updates. So the first of those is support for account and account group-based price schemes. So if the only feature that you're waiting on to make the switch over to the new checkout basket is price schemes, and you only use price schemes for accounts and account groups, you can start making that switch over now. Price schemes based on job roles hasn't been covered yet, just because it's not as popular, it's not as a commonly used feature, but it's on the radar. For anyone who hasn't used price schemes before, they're really used to define like alternative course costs for certain groups of users. So rather than a discount, a price scheme is like a fixed, usually contracted, agreed price that is then assigned to the course for a certain group of users. So for example, it could be that all charities get a different price for this course, or everyone that's a designer or a very specific account. There's a lot of information on our knowledge base about our price schemes if you want to learn any more, or get in touch with a member of the team here. So that's price schemes, that's the first one. The second checkout feature is an update to the payment type drop-down box, which is on the billing or payment step of the checkout basket. So when there are multiple options that are available in that payment type drop-down box to your booking user, your customer, it will no longer pre-select an option for them. What we found is that because it was pre-selected, users weren't changing it and they were just checking out with invoice selected. So now if anyone's got multiple options available, it will instead say this, as it says here, please select payment type, and they'll be kind of forced to make a selection. However, if anybody just has one payment method, so for example, they can only pay using Stripe, then this will still be pre-selected for them just to save them a few clicks. Cool, so that's the checkout updates. Next on the features that are available to you now is we've got the first bit of help text available. So just to show you, so the supporting text is available on sessional courses when you're editing courses, and we'll be rolling this out throughout the rest of the platform. So it looks a little bit like this. The idea behind the help text is to provide more clarity on what the settings are within your platform. It's really to help new team members getting up to speed, just so they can very quickly identify what a setting is for, get them up to speed more quickly, more confidently. And very often these help texts will include a link directly to our knowledge base so you can learn more. So I'll just kind of show you that in practice. And then, as I mentioned, we will be rolling out more of this soon. So just one help text for us for now, and that's within courses class. Then if we edit any course at all, and then I'll just jump down to that sessional setting. It's here, this little question mark icon. This will start appearing against a number of different fields. We're going to be focusing on the fields that are kind of mostly requested, in terms of knowledge tickets and things. Linked to the knowledge base at the bottom here, and then it can just be closed down quite easily there as well. Cool. Okay, and then the final feature that went live in Q3 is our all or any data grid filters. So I've been very excited for this one for a while. So it's just a simple toggle that's available in all your data grid filters, and it lets you control whether all the criteria in your filter needs to be applied, or just any one of the criteria needs to be applied. So I have made one that I can just quickly show you. So we just head back into the platform and head over to the users data grid. I created a filter called, where are you? Engineers and editors. So if I just double click on it to edit it. So this users data grid filter is currently showing me any users that have a job title that contains engineer or a job title that contains editor. Now, if I had this set to be all, so it has to basically have to have a job title that has engineer and editor, I'm not going to get any results, I don't think. Don't think there's anybody that's an engineer and an editor, no. But if I then update this filter to be an or, so it's any of the conditions, and save it, then I'm getting back anybody that has engineer editor in their job title. So this probably isn't the best example, but you could use this to build a quite handy kind of mailing list, thinking more about, you know, manager, director, anybody that fits that criteria when you're wanting to build up a bit of an e-campaign mailing list. So just a few examples for you. This is the kind of key one that our implementation team are excited about. And this is in the classroom courses data grid, being able to find any courses that are missing a venue or missing a trainer. So obviously previously, if it was always both, so it would only show you courses that were missing both a venue and a trainer. So now it's going to show you when it's missing either, so you know which courses need some action. Another example similar to the one that we just walked through, job title contains manager or job title contains director, and that's in the users data grid. And then as a kind of final example, say if you're an account manager, you could build a filter that shows you all accounts that have active invoices or active tasks, so that you can quickly whittle down that accounts data grid to just the accounts that have require some activity. Cool, so that's it for the features that went live in Q3. There's a lot that's currently in progress though. So moving on to the features that we're expecting in the last few months of 2023. There are two checkout features that are now in our testing phase. The first of these is partial payments in checkout. So with this feature, you can define per course how much of a deposit is required for the booking up front. Your customers can then choose to pay anything from that deposit amount right up to the full value of the course in the basket. This is quite cool. It's quite a good way to encourage more bookings, especially if you've got really high value courses that can be a bit much for your customers to pay all of that up front. And then following that initial booking, they can then make subsequent payments by logging into the platform, making a new payment against their invoice. And then the second feature for checkout that's also in testing at the moment is support for our sixth payment gateway option, which is Barclays EPDQ. That's joining the like of Stripe and PayPal, WorldPay, and a few more. Cool, then we've got two accessibility improvements that are also in the testing phase at the moment. So the first one is an update into checkout, is to make the little X icon that's available to clear your selected booker or clear your selected delegates available to tab to using a keyboard. So this will mean that keyboard only users will be able to access the option. This is our last high priority accessibility issue in the checkout basket, so we can start moving on to the medium priority issues now. We've got quite a big effort at the moment to make the platform as accessible as possible. And the second change, accessibility-wise, is within the Learner portal. So that's to introduce alternative text to this logo at the top left of the Learner's view. This is for screen reader users, so they can understand what the image is for. Cool. Also in the testing phase is we have a new column coming to the credit notes data grid, and this shows you which invoice or invoices the credit note has been spent on. It's also a dynamic link, so I can show you this actually, but it's this column here, linked invoice. So just to show you it in real life. So from the credit notes data grid, there will be a new column called linked invoice. And from here, you'll be able to see which invoice, or as I mentioned, invoices, the credit note has been matched to, and then it's a dynamic link. So from here, I can jump to view the invoice in the invoices data grid, preview the invoice details, and so on. Yeah, Should be quite cool when that's available. And then the final feature that's in testing is support for custom fields on resources. So you can see a quick example here. Against a trainer, we've got things like languages spoken. This is a very heavily product suggested feature, so I'm very excited for when we can get this out to you guys. And when it's available, what it'll mean is you can store custom information against your trainers, such as which languages. You can store custom information about your venues, like opening hours, that kind of thing. And then any other custom information that you need to kind of record and reference about your resources. The information will then be available to report on, like all custom fields, but you'd also be able to use them as part of your filters when you're selecting a trainer or a venue for a course. So take languages spoken, for example. If you were running a French course, you would want to filter to include just see trainers that can speak French. Be handy. Cool. Okay, and then the final feature to talk to you about today is the multi-factor authentication. So we're still in progress with the development of this is our big project this year, to introduce MFA into all the login pages of Access Planet. So this will be released after the resource-based custom fields, those accessibility improvements, the Barclays and partial payments and checkout. This will come afterwards. A little bit on MFA for anyone who and it isn't too familiar with it. It's really becoming an industry standard to really secure logins, protect data, especially for administrator logins, asking users to prove who they are when they log in, just to make sure they haven't had their login details stolen, hacked. So once this is available, if you choose to have MFA turned on, your users will be prompted to kind of verify their login via email. They'll need to do that every 120 days or every time they log in using a new device. Cool. Just before I move on to the Q&A, a quick thing on the upcoming events. So we've got a few events running this quarter which you might be interested in. So I'll put this link in the chat. We've got 2 free webinars coming up. So first of all, we've got on the 12th of October, e-learning basics. And then we also have on the 9th of November, getting organised. That's a focus on using notes and tasks in the platform to get more organised, share your data more readily with other admins. And then we've got our fundamentals training sessions, last 3 of the year. So this month we've got the importing session, that's on the 17th. On the 14th of November, we've got dashboards. And then on the 5th of December, there's invoices and finances. So these are chargeable sessions, but I can't remember off the top of my head exactly how much they are. I think I can't remember, sorry. But I'll put the link into the chat, it does say on the website. Cool. All right, I'll move into the Q&A then. So if anyone has any questions, please pop them in the Q&A at the top of Zoom, and then I'll start answering. But otherwise, if you don't have any questions, I hope you have a really lovely rest of your day. Oh, hi Laura, really good question. Being able to add your own help text. That is something that we don't have planned for at the moment, but it is something that we have discussed here. If you wouldn't mind, if you could please get a product suggestion submitted for it, just to kind of further add more evidence that it's something that our customers would like, that would be fab. I do see that being a beneficial feature, you being able to amend, tweak the help text into your own terminology, and also being able to add your own, for things like custom fields, that would be cool. But yeah, please put a product suggestion in for it. And then Claire, will linked invoice for credits be available in the API feeds too? So not at the moment, Claire, that's not something we've got planned for. I think it's worth putting a product suggestion in for it so that it's considered. You can technically get to this via the transactions feed though. So the transaction feed includes the external transaction ID, which is the credit note ID. So there is the link already in the APIs. So I could take you through it offline. We can't use transactions for sales orders, or maybe let's talk about it in our next catch up. I think it's still worthwhile getting the suggestion in so we can consider it as an addition to the APIs. But I'm kind of hopeful there's another way we can do it in the meantime. But yeah, we'll cover it on our next catch up. Laura, good question. So Laura's asking if we can use single sign-on and MFA at the same time. So It's a no to that because single sign-on can already have its own MFA. So there'll be nothing wrong with having MFA and SSO turned on at the same time. It's just that your SSO users, so anyone that logs in with SSO, will bypass the MFA. So you could, for example, have MFA turned on for all of your customers, all of your trainers, and then your admins log in with single sign-on. So that would work fine. Hopefully that's answered your question. There we go. So I've just put the link to the customer events page inside the chat for this. So please follow that if you'd like to book onto any of those optimization workshops or the fundamentals training. No, okay, I think we'll wrap up there then. So if anyone does have any questions that they think of later on, please email the product inbox. So that's just product@accessplanet.com. And then one of us from the team will get back to you. But yeah, that's everything for today. The session has been recorded, so it will be published if you want to watch it back. But yeah, have a lovely rest of your Thursday, everyone.